Hot water machine. Oh, there's little redness of it. Oh! But yeah, it really hurt.
Yep, there we go. You now know that Aaron Johnson is with us once again. Mr. Aaron, I want to go watch Squid Games Johnson.
You got me curious now.
I got him curious because I told him half the people died in red light, green light.
And the first, 40 something.
And if you haven't watched Squid Games, spoiler alert, people die in the show. They obviously don't die in real life. They just die in context of the show itself.
That we know of.
Well, if they died in real life, that was a very costly budget for them then, because that would have been a lot of people they had to kill. 455 people, to be exact.
That's a lot of graves.
That means you only had one take for every scene that you did.
You better be one good actor until the death.
Yeah, because I'm sure everyone signed up just for that. Just for that.
What if? But wait, no, because so is it a show then? Like the games, is it a part of a show too, or is that just?
No, it's part of. Well, yes and no. It's not on public TV. It is broadcast only to very wealthy VIPs
Oh
who,
my god!
instead of betting on horses, bet on people.
Oh my gosh!
That's why I want you to watch it, because there's a lot of interesting,
my gosh,
thought-provoking things that come from Squid Game. Is it like some people are arguing that it's a critique on communism? Others are saying it's a critique on consumerism. Others on capitalism. Others are saying that it's a critique on just allowing people to get too rich and wealthy, and they don't know what to do with their money. Another is saying that it's a critique on religion. On others, there's a large list. So there's multiple aspects that as you go through it, you'll see more and more things revealed through it. It's interesting 9 episodes.
All right. So is that going to be the end, or is there going to be more?
They haven't announced yet.
Oh, okay.
The creator hasn't said. The only thing that he's said is LeBron James, right?
LeBron James.
He apparently said something about the ending of it that the creator read. It was like, and the creator says, "Have you seen Space Jam 2?" And it's like, if you really feel this strongly about it, go ahead and create your own sequel, and then I'll watch it and critique it.
Oh, dang! Get him!
So that wasn't
Get him!
But that Squid Game isn't the concept or the topic of today.
No, not at all.
No. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to take the spotlight and we're going to shine it right on Aaron Johnson. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I was like, wait a minute. This is not where I saw this going.
Really? You didn't see it go that way, huh?
I don't know.
So, what I want to talk about, and we might have touched on this before, but I wanted to kind of expound upon it a little bit more. And this was triggered by a text message I received today.
Oh, yeah. Okay, the spotlight is here.
From one Mr. Aaron Johnson. If I was a character in my campaign that I'm running right now for Pathfinder, I would have just been turned to stone. So those who are in my campaign would understand. The rest, everyone's like, huh?
What are you talking about?
Go watch. Nope, I can't say it because I know Brock listens, so I can't.
Oh, wait, what? Ah! Oh. What?
Yep. Anyways. So earlier today. When I say earlier today, I was like...
Literally 2 in the morning. 2:40-ish.
So I sent this message at 2:45.
2:45, yeah.
Because I just got home from our weekly Pathfinder game where I think I royally screwed with some people's minds. by killing off I didn't intentionally do it, but one of their favorite NPCs got killed.
Oh no.
So rest in peace, sweetie. There will be no more sweetie snacks for the rest of the group.
No more sweetie.
That's okay. He was one of my favorite NPCs too. A one-armed goblin that fought in cage fighting matches that had a sword attached to his arm.
Okay, that's kind of dope. That's pretty dope.
That was a baker by trade.
That was a bake. All right.
Imagine Gordon Ramsay as a goblin
With the sword for an arm.
with a sword for an arm.
I like the looks of this. He'd be a lot more threatening in his shows.
But anyways, so I get home at like 2:45, and I was like, "Hey, guess what? It's Saturday." And I'm like, "Oh, that means it's recording day. Oh, I'm so tired. I want to go to sleep." But then I realized, oh, dang it, me and Aaron never figured out a time. What time? Essentially, is what I sent him. I sent it in Spanish, and he's like, "Oh, I'll be getting home around 4 tomorrow from Chicago."
Yeah.
At first, my when I read this in the morning, because I didn't read this till like 9 in the morning, because I passed out after that and then woke up, and I was like,
"Wait, 4 tomorrow? What?"
No, it would have been 10:30 because it says I sent this reply at 10:31.
Oof.
And I said, "Wait, Chicago?
Huh?
Tomorrow, as in Saturday or Sunday? Question mark." But you also continued. You're like,
I did.
you said IDK. I don't know, man.
I don't know, man.
Not 100% sure.
About this whole podcasting thing.
I'm no good with it. I don't know why I read that in the style of Eeyore just now. I just did.
I like Eeyore. I relate.
And that got me thinking. I was like, okay, what the heck is going on? What triggered this? What, and I knew at the time, I was like, don't overanalyze this, because I know if I overanalyze this right now without talking to Aaron, I can go into 5 million different directions and not be sure what's going on. So I get ready in the morning. I pack up my dog, and it sounds like a country song. I pack up my dog in my vehicle.
Prius.
Yeah, except you don't hear about Prius in a country song.
No.
So, anyways, I pack up my dog in the vehicle, and driving down, and I call my mother. I'm like, "Hey, coming down, blah blah blah, bringing Xena." I hang up the phone from my mom, and you call immediately after. Like within a few seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
right. Yeah.
I'm like, seriously? He calls at this point? Hey. I was planning on having the conversation like fully when I got over to your place.
Well, wait, at that point we already did have established on one.
Yeah, we had established kind of like, you were like, well, I'm thinking maybe 4, but then you're like, but maybe I'll be back at 1. So
yeah,
I said, let's do 2-ish, which turned out to be the correct time.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do that. And you call me, and that's when I first did my first little thing of like, so what was up with that text message?
What do you mean you're not good for? Yeah.
And the reason I ask, like, why did you put that you don't know about this? You don't like, because I had been thinking the other day, I was like, okay, besides a bunch of breathing things that I have to edit out of the if you do that right now. Besides a bunch of breathing things I have to edit out for the audio, that you had actually started to enter into your own little stride. You're still baby stepping through some things, but that's okay.
Absolutely.
But that's okay. It's not. This isn't a crawl to run. This is a crawl in all the intermediary steps in between and everything, and then you can start running. Sort of deal.
Yeah, I'm a late bloomer.
Yes, very much so. So I had been having those thoughts recently, and then all of a sudden I get hit with that. I'm like, wait, what? What's going on? and that's why I started off with that kind of direct action. I was like, action, that direct question. And I was like, so what was up with that wonderful text message you sent this morning? What was your answer, sir?
I don't come up with stuff. Ah! Yeah.
And that was the extent of it. And literally in my head, I'm I didn't yell.
He's very patient.
Well, there's 2 reasons why.
Oh, no.
One, you're very easily startled if I yell.
Yeah.
Second, my dog is very easily startled if I yell. And I was doing it more out of consideration for my dog, okay, if I'm being honest. Because she was in the car with me. I didn't want to get her startled. I didn't want her to freak out a little bit. Because, one thing about my dog, I rescued her. I adopted her. And if I'm in the same house, like if I'm at my mom's house, and my mom even starts raising her voice a little bit at me, Xena gets tense at first, and then she goes to my mom and does whatever she can, short of like biting her, to try to get her to shut up, essentially. Like she jumps on her. She's like because she knows my mom doesn't like being licked on her face and that. So she goes for face licks. Goes for the face licks. Anything to do to get my mom to be quiet. And it happens every single time. Anytime, even if my mom's just playing around, like she play around, raises her voice a little bit, Xena immediately goes right into action. It's like, nope, you are not doing this. So I didn't want to do that because I know how she gets, and I didn't want her to know, like, what do I do in a car when someone's yelling? Like, she's sensitive enough where I was watching Deep Space Nine recently, and someone started yelling, and she kind of flipped out a little bit. So it's one of those things I just have to work on her with and just, keep her from that situation. She's very defensive of me when I'm around. Yeah. So hopefully that doesn't turn into a bad thing going forward, but working on that. So, but that was the main reason why because part of me just wanted to yell and be like, get out of your head.
But I can't. I'm stuck in it.
And then I told you something that I don't know how you took it. I was like, you and Brock are essentially the same, overthinking it. Oh. Way overthinking things. Like I said, I don't know how you took that there.
I do it all the time.
And that could be a bad thing.
It is a bad thing.
That got me to thinking, a lot of things, actually. But one of the things is then I put on the list for today. I was like, okay, this is something that has kind of been sticking in the back of my craw for a little bit. And I'm going to put it on here. And I put it on there. And then we were talking on the phone. I was like, did you see what I put on there? Did you feel targeted? And you're like, yes, I felt targeted, blah, blah. I'm like, which one was it? He's like, the one about dealing with temptation. Nope, that wasn't it. That wasn't the one I put on there to target you. And he's like, the instant backpedaling that I saw coming from, like, it was like as clear as day on my phone watch as I'm driving, but I could easily see this picture of like air, like backpedaling, like, nope, I didn't say anything just now.
Son of a...
It was amazing. I wish you could reproduce how well you backpedal, but I don't think you can at this point because it was one of those, you just got caught on something and you weren't exactly sure what to do. And, we didn't talk about it much on the phone, at that time, because at that point you're like, well, we'll talk about this more in person. And we did later on. But yes, I did put the Imposter Syndrome on there just because of you. And I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to bring this up because of 2 major reasons. 1, stop it. Get it out. Get out of your own head.
How?
Okay.
What do I do?
That's simpler said than done. Okay.
Yes.
I will say that right off the bat.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the first off. Okay. And I'm saying that for you, for this podcast specifically. 2, there are a lot of people, and don't get me wrong, I include myself in this a lot of times as well, who do that to themselves at their own jobs as well. Who feel that they are imposters at their own jobs and feel that they do not deserve the position, the responsibility, the pay, the power, the whatever that comes with the job.
Yeah.
And imposter syndrome, whether it is because for you, in your case, with this podcast, or 2, it is because of something at your job with that, it is harmful.
True. Yeah, I bet it is.
Now, why is it harmful is the question. Do you have any idea why it's harmful?
I mean, I would imagine it's a hindrance on What's the word I'm looking for? It hinders you from going farther. Would be one thought.
Why does it hinder you from going farther?
Because you're already kind of all right. Yeah. So it's like you already. I guess. What was you? Was it like? What was the? It was selling yourself short. Is that a phrase? Is that a thing?
Selling yourself short. Okay, go ahead and define selling yourself short.
I guess pretty much just. I mean, you're limiting yourself to what you can achieve. You're pretty much just telling yourself you're not as capable of doing something that you probably very much well are capable of doing. If not even better.
Yeah. Yeah, because one of the things about imposter syndrome, right, is, okay, Aaron, I'm picking on you right now because
quite okay.
you kind of triggered this in me right now.
Sorry.
Okay? But I'm going to bring in some examples of my own here,
Yeah.
from my own life here. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you're at work, right?
Yeah.
And your boss
Yeah.
comes up to you and he says, "Man, you did a great job with this labeling. You got it, knocked it out of the park. You know, you did great."
Mm-hmm.
What's your immediate thoughts when you hear that?
I mean, well, thank you.
Okay.
I just kind of like. I feel like my normal thing would just be kind of like the shy away-ish, kind of like, oh, stop.
And why would you shy away? No,
I know it's like a legitimate question. It's a compliment.
and why are accepting compliments hard?
I don't know, because part of me thinks that I could be doing better than I am.
So part of you thinks you could be doing better than you are,
Yeah.
even when you receive a compliment on a job well done,
That I did
and the
good in
boss
the
saying
first
you
place.
just knocked it out of the park. So that's definitely part of an imposter syndrome.
Is it really? Gosh,
Yes, because you're feeling like a fake. You're feeling like you maybe lucked into it. Like, oh, I got lucky on how I did it. instead of, hey, no, my hard work and my experience is what allowed me to get to this. Now, I'm not saying that you go and do this and be a braggart about it. You don't go,
No, yeah,
well, guess
yeah.
who just did all those labels by himself? Oh, that's me. Let me flex for you. No, that's not how it goes. Okay.
I'm just doing my job.
Okay. There is some, whether you believe in luck or not, there's some luck on, how some things happen. But a lot of it, when you break it down, comes to your training, comes to your experience. Heck, take Johnson, the Velpert of 2021 versus Johnson, the Velpert of, what year did you start?
Ooh.
How long have you worked there?
This is going on like 6 or 7 years.
Okay, so take the Velpert, Aaron Johnson, the Velpert of 2015 versus Aaron Johnson, the Velpert of 2021.
Has it really been that long?
Holy
I was there before I turned 21.
Okay. Anyways,
Yeah.
come back.
I'm coming back.
Take Aaron Johnson, the Velpert of 2015 versus Aaron Johnson, the Velpert of 2021 right now, right? Give them both the same task.
Yeah.
How well would the 2015 version do? Probably not
as well.
Not as well, not as efficient, not as, not as good in quality as the 2021. There would probably be a lot more mistakes, a lot more errors, a lot more things that would have to be redone. Correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes?
Yeah. You're right.
So what happened between 2015 and 2021? You learned quite a bit. That's quite a few years of experience you have built up. How many years does it take? You go by the old rule of how long does it take to become a master of something?
Right.
What is that? 10 years.
Oh, a decade.
Guess what?
I'm almost at a decade.
2015 to 2021. That's 6 years.
Yeah, that is 6 years.
You're 6% a master
Oh my gosh.
by that old
That's
standard.
kind of scary.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why would you then go, well, it was just luck. Why you give it? And then
I got lucky with this one, Kate.
yeah, I know.
It just happened to work out really well.
Yeah, and tell me if this is wrong. If you find yourself doing this, do you ever go, oh, it's not a big deal. It's not important. It's just my job. Do you ever find yourself doing that?
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Imposter syndrome is also minimizing the accomplishments, if at all possible, especially on like a major project or something. You know, you just got a rush order of doing, 5 million Trump towels over the next year, and you somehow managed to knock it out of the park in 10 months instead of 12 months.
Heck yeah.
Just because you're experiencing your efficiency. Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, very exaggerated. I don't know what the actual throughput is, but I'm just throwing stuff out. But you get that done, right? And your boss goes, "That was an amazing job. Good job. Here, here's a bonus." And you go, "Oh, it wasn't a big deal. I was just doing my job."
I was doing what you told me to do, boss.
It's like, really? Really? No, you did a great thing. I don't think you realize how great of a thing you did here. And then, like I said, probably feeling like a fake. You probably have felt like that at work and sometimes, especially like maybe you're comparing yourself to someone who's been there longer than you and seeing what they could do versus what you could do, especially when you're the beginning compared to now.
Oh, well, yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
It is weird to be considered one of the big guys now.
One of the seniors?
Yeah.
Why is that weird? You've been there 6 years at least.
Well, wait, yeah.
At least.
Yeah, I know. It's just, I guess the funny thing is one of the days, it's like, if both of the other two big guys are gone, I'm the next one in charge. Everybody there's older than me.
Yeah.
It's just it seems so weird to me. Yeah, it's weird. That means I have to tell people what to do. Or be able to figure out stuff for them to do.
They have the trust in you because you've been there long enough. You've learned the ropes. You've learned these things. You're not an imposter.
A decent amount, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this, and you tell me what you think.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Now, obviously, there's various studies in that, but what do they think percentage-wise, obviously, right? Because, you have 100% of the population, male and female, right?
Okay.
What percentage male, what percentage female suffer from imposter syndrome, do they say?
Probably more male than female.
Is it? Give me numbers.
63% male. And the rest female.
Actually, kind of reverse that.
Oh, it's more female than is male?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Obviously, they need to probably update some of these studies, but the last study that they did, it did indicate that it is more prevalent among women, specifically women of color. That doesn't mean men are not susceptible to this. They are definitely susceptible to this, and they can definitely do it.
Yeah. I guess that makes more sense for it to be that way.
Why does it make more sense?
I don't know. Well, no. Maybe I can't say that. No, I'm just, because I'm just, as first, when I was thinking it had been more men, is because it seemed like there's a lot of expectations put on men, but there's still a ton of expectations put on women too, it seems like.
Yeah.
So I can easily see it being more women as well. Especially, yeah. I'm just imagining, yeah. That does make sense. I get that.
All right.
So,
What?
I'm a part of the percentage, though.
Well,
no.
That's fine. That's fine. I would be very surprised if many people were not.
Yeah.
I think honestly, based on what they have there, there's probably going to be more people with this imposter syndrome than not.
Right.
how many times have you heard in work meetings where people go, it's no big deal. It's okay. It's just whatever. We have to kind of learn that it is okay to accept praise for our work,
Right.
whether we like it or not at times. And
Yeah.
I get it, especially like in the Christian church where you're kind of taught this, try to take things with humility thing. Yes, do that. And there's a fine balance between the two. Balance number one, obviously, is you could say, "Hey, thank you for appreciating my work." You could appreciate back that you're being appreciated. That's fine. Great. You've acknowledged that they think you did great work. You're able to continue on. You get that praise. You feel good about yourself. Now, if you go around, like I said, and you go, "Oh, look at me. The boss just gave me a big compliment." Yeah. And, you're bragging to all your coworkers, Okay, that is moving
That's
it
too much.
That's moving it to the extreme area. And
Yeah.
stop it.
Right. You ain't all that hot. Okay. Knock it off.
Really, knock it off, huh?
Yeah.
So that's one thing I would say is learn to, and this is, I will say this for me. I would say still is, probably one of the hardest things that I have had to learn is how to take a compliment
Yeah.
on this. For the longest time in my career, I would go to meetings. Heck, okay. Again, I'm just stating facts. I'm not trying to brag here, okay? But this is a fact.
Yeah.
I went to a PowerShell conference at one point. It's one of the technologies I use. They had a test there. They administered this test. It was a very limited number of people who could take this test worldwide. You had to go to one of these conferences. Okay. You went and you had to sign up to take the test. You took the test, and then they graded you. Now, this test wasn't your normal coding test where you got some problems and all that. This was a decently, moderately advanced PowerShell script. Actually, they called it a very advanced PowerShell script. And anyways, going through the test, only 4 of us passed that year in the world. Okay? 4 of us. I was one of them. Even after that happened, I was still like, am I good enough to go and speak at this conference? I had to be convinced by other people that I was
dip, Sherlock. Of course you're.
that I was worthy enough to do this, even though I just freaking passed a test that most people failed.
Oh my gosh.
And yet when they're like, hey, would you like to, why don't you submit to speak at next year's conference? And I was like, am I good enough? Will I have anything to say? Who wants to listen to me? Hello? Again, this is this is a fact that you can go, that can pull up the data for. It's like, wait, no, I'm one of the craziest people that thinks weirdly in this language. Okay?
Yeah. Right.
Somehow I did this, and they passed me. Don't know how. I still don't believe it to this day. But, that's what I'm saying. Even getting hey, you passed this, come and speak now. And it's like, wait, well, no, not me.
Somebody else.
That can't be me. And it's like, wait a minute, what am I doing to myself on that? Factually, I have the skill set.
Right.
Factually, I can do this. Factually, companies are we're knocking on my door essentially saying, hey,
Work for us.
yeah. And thankfully, like the spot we're working at now was kind of that same little thing. Like, hey, we need someone to come do some automation stuff and do this and script this, and we need you to come and do that. And it's like, cool. Came right at the right time and everything. And I really enjoy what I do working now, and I'm not looking to leave there anytime soon. So that's good. That's good. And part of me wonders if earlier on in my career, if I had learned how to take a compliment, if I had learned how to say, you know what, factually, objectively, I deserve to be in this position, not like me trying to brag or anything like that, but that I'm doing good. I'm doing what I need to do. If maybe my career had taken, maybe it sounds weird, but maybe my career maybe not had slowed down like it did at certain points, like it would have moved towards different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one reason why I'm like, I don't want to do management. Because I feel like at times, and I'm still working on this myself. So this isn't something that I'm telling you, Mr. Johnson, that you that you got to fix now, and you can never have an issue with this again, because you are going to have an issue with this again, whether you like it or not.
Oh, I know I am.
And I wonder if like maybe I had like if I had accepted this about me earlier, like where I learned how to accept a compliment, maybe it'd be management or something. But I'm not, and that's fine. I've learned to live with that. I'm fine with that. But it took me maybe until like 3 years ago to learn how to take a compliment at work, where I could, when someone came up to me and said, "Hey, that was a great job," where I didn't feel embarrassed and guilty or ashamed, and and I could say, weird. And I could look at them literally and say, "Thank you for acknowledging that."
Yeah,
it becomes something that once you start learning how to take a compliment, that you learn slowly how to accept it without feeling like you're a fraud, like you're a fake. Like, now the question is then, what do you do? How do you overcome? How do you overcome this? How do you make yourself not impostery?
Don't know. I don't know. Practice.
Well, okay. So. There's a few things you can do. One of those is accept your role in success. The first step to believing you're not fraud is to internalize the role you played in the success. Look at what you did to make whatever that project is or that product you're working on a success. What did you do? And how did that contribute to it? Coming back to podcasting. There have been months where you have come up solely by yourself the ideas for the month.
But let's do it again.
But because you failed, you weren't able to come up with some ideas for 1 month.
Yeah.
So let's look at the previous 3, 4, 5, 6 months.
Nuh-uh.
And how many ideas that came from your head.
I don't know.
A good chunk of them.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Oh.
Now, just because you don't know a bunch of data all the time, well, two things going on this against your favor. One, I have a laptop up in front of me, actually, where I can look up data as we're talking. You'll notice sometimes I will start a conversation and I will add in a bunch of what I know about it. But while I'm talking about what I know, I'm looking up on the side stuff that correlates with what I maybe need to fill in the blanks or remind myself on.
Right.
So it doesn't help you that you don't have like a computer or something like that in front of you to be able to research on the fly, on the go as we're doing this. So that's one thing. Yes, you have a block of cheese. Second thing, you're younger. Trust me, when you're younger, you don't necessarily pay attention to everything that's going on in the world. And I get that. That's fine. Maybe that's something that you'll pay attention to as you get older or not. That's up to you. I don't know. Don't care really. Mm-hmm. The thing is, this is I'm going to keep this in here, but I'm talking to you directly. I don't care if the mic was off or on right now. Okay.
Okay.
The fact is, you have come up with a lot of ideas for the past few months.
Yeah.
Okay. Some have been used, some haven't, but a lot of them have been used. Okay.
Okay.
You interact in the conversation, not always like knowing the full thing, but remember when we had that meeting with Eric early in the year, what was your role that we determined your role is? Your role isn't the one of knowing all the data. Your role is the one of asking the questions.
Yes, this is true. I was thinking about that today.
So what is your success? Was your role in the success of this podcast? Your role is coming up with some ideas and asking some questions.
So easy.
That's your role. Have you been doing that? Yes.
Oh, yeah. You didn't hear what I said, did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay, good.
What did you say?
Nothing.
I'll hear it on the recording.
Dang it. Yeah.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
what does that mean then?
I can do it. Right? Maybe. Right? Hopefully.
If your part of the project came in successful,
Yeah.
what does that mean?
I did it.
Correct.
I did it.
I wanted a statement, not a question.
Oh.
You did it,
Confident. Yes.
which means you're part of the success of everything.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
What's the next thing you could do to help overcome imposter syndrome? You can focus on providing value. Well, in your case, how do you do that? Well, you find into your role. What's your role? Helping with some of the topic ideas and helping with questions as the conversation is going along.
Yeah.
And those questions you ask are not questions like high level, deep theological questions. These questions are,
Nope.
how does this correspond back to normal day to day?
This is your average joke.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's the next thing? Well, here's the next one that maybe is going to be the hardest for you because it was the hardest. I know this was the hardest one for me at first. Collecting positive feedback about what you've been doing and internalizing it and accepting it.
How do you what?
Exactly. How?
How do you
Create a record of compliments and positive comments that you get regarding the things you do. So when I say, hey, that's a great idea, thanks for bringing that to my attention. Stuff like that, when I say that. Don't just brush it off. Actually accept it that that's something that you got. Something I love that our work does for this, to kind of help with this, is we have this thing called Bravo. And Bravo, what it is like if someone does something, pretty amazing or good or whatever, I write them a little note to say thank you for, whatever. I can give them some points, which I can turn into the company store for some stuff. But also that note gets sent to their manager. So their manager knows, hey, Paul or whoever is doing this awesome job for me. Awesome. Great. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. And I started doing this for myself, just so on days when maybe I'm having difficulties doing things, I can go back and look at like, hey, this is what my coworkers have said about me, about the work I've done before. And it's not so much of a like, look at me, look at me, look at me. It's a remind myself, no, I'm actually doing great work, even if at times it seems a little hard.
Right.
And so I can go back and kind of read some of them and go, okay, yeah. The last thing you can do, talk to someone else who is objective about it and ask them what they really see your contribution to the project or the product is. Because sometimes you need to hear that from outside of yourself in order for you to hear the truth. Because we can lie to ourselves so easily when we hear something. Either, and I'm not saying just like talk to them like a quick minute, like, hey, how did you think I did in the project? Actually sit down and talk with them about it. Because if, again, you're going to hear the whole, oh, you did great on the project. And then you're like, oh, wow, did I really do great? I kind of screwed up that one part and I was a day late with that other part. So was it really that great?
No.
But the other person can hopefully objectively look at and say, look, overall, maybe the product was a day or two late. Fine, whatever. But you got the product done with no errors. The client was happy. We got paid. You could see all these metrics objectively outside of your emotional feeling. Because our emotions lie to us all the time. And if we listen to them completely all the time, we're going to just sit there and go, oh, they're telling me I did okay, but they really hate me.
Right. God, that. Is that kind of like where you just take things at face value type thing? Ish, maybe. Right?
Yeah.
No.
And sometimes you don't want to just be, sometimes you just don't want to take things at face value. And sometimes and here's our flip side of it. Sometimes you have to take things at face value and remove your feeling from it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, depending on how we're feeling that day, we may interpret what they said as something completely negative, even though it should be positive.
Right.
And here's the thing. If you collect those like encouragements, or you collect those things of like, hey, you did great on this, da da da. Like I said, on days when you're feeling bad, on days when you're down or discouraged about stuff, you can go back and look there and be like, look, they said I did. Yes, I did this. Great. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So there's a couple books I would definitely recommend. Oh, he took it away for sale. Well, I wonder why. So if you can find it, Don Jones, Be the Master. I have enjoyed that book for my career kind of thing as well. And in it, he talks about some things that helps you kind of get over some of that imposter syndrome stuff. Specifically, stuff like, hey, look, how does a master of their craft and career teach others? Obviously, it's one thing to help teach, learn yourself, teach yourself things, but how do you pass that knowledge on to other people? Because when you're helping other people learn these things, you all of a sudden learn how to do things in a way you never thought before possible. And you feel less, well, at least I felt less impostery doing that, Another book of his is Own Your Tech Career, Soft Skills for Technologists. Now, obviously, this one's more for technology, but in this, you're learning soft skills. What are soft skills?
Soft skills?
Uh-huh.
Makes me think of it, well, if I say very surface level kind of stuff. Why am I thinking of soft being the surface, though? I don't know. I think of soft being just simple and easy.
Well, definitely not simple and easy. Soft skills are things like your personal branding, your career maintenance, how to get yourself like promoted in your career, what your career looks like, navigating the rules of business world, performing market analysis to keep your skills relevant, regardless if they're tech or not. How do you do clear communication? How do you do time and productivity management? How do you navigate those business needs that the company needs? Those are your soft skills, your networking, your ability to work with others in a team. Those are, when they say soft skills, they're not talking about easy or anything. They're talking about skills that are not specific to your specific trade. So in this case, a hard skill for me would be coding. That's a hard skill. That's not just someone that any Joe Schmo can go off and do.
Right.
But a soft skill, how to reply back to an email in a timely manner with professionalism to advance my career. That's a soft skill you can do regardless if you're doing coding or not. So he talks about that in there. Yes, it's more focused to technology. I get that.
Right.
But I still found it good. I do still find the Be the Master book very much useful. I have the second edition myself. The latest edition was fourth edition. I don't know if he's going to be doing a fifth edition or not, but that's okay.
But what was the first one?
Be the Master.
Oh, that was okay.
Yep. Like I said, I have the second edition, and it's by Don Jones, DON space JONES. You can find it on LeanPub, where you can get like the PDF, ebook versions and all that, right? You can also get hard copies on Amazon as well. So there's, I think paperback starts at $20 for the fourth edition.
There's so many editions.
Yep, he definitely updated that one a few times. So Don Jones and if you like Don Jones' writing style, well, he has a couple other books out there that If you like some more fiction-y stuff, he has some books called like Master of the Tower, Daniel Scratch, The Order of Some. I personally have not read them, but they are on my list of when I get time and free time, which might be a while for me. So those are definitely some books if you want to look on imposter syndrome, as well as maybe getting your career a little bit, like what do you say it? Give your career a little boost there.
Right.
Other books that they recommend for this is, they say, hey, these are 5 books that they recommend for if you're struggling with imposter syndrome. And Aaron's getting ready to write them all down, I bet, at this time, right? So the first one is Ditching Imposter Syndrome by Clara Hossa. The next one, Why Do I Feel Like an Imposter by Sandy Mann. The next one, Own Your Greatness by Lisa Orbe Austin and Richard Orbe Austin. The next one, okay, this is an interesting title, The Middle Finger Project by Ash Ambridge. The Imposter Cure by Jesse Hibbard. The Secret Thoughts of Successful Woman by Valerie Young. And then this one's like right up Aaron's field because it has a guy who has like a white mask in front of his face for the cover.
Nice.
The Imposter Syndrome by Harold Hillman. Another one, Unlocking Your Authentic Self by Jennifer Hunt. And then, Yes, You Are Good Enough by Trish Taylor. So if you're looking for some other books, because you love reading books, those are other things you could read as well. But really what it comes down to, at least from my experience, learn how to take a compliment, internalize that compliment, and don't think that you are a failure automatically when something comes up. Because here's the deal. Let's be honest and real about business. If you are not living up to the bargain that you made with them, and that bargain is the fact that every X number of days they pay you X amount of dollars. If you're not living up to that bargain, why would that business keep you around? If you are not living up to the bargain of work, they will fire you, no questions asked. If you're not worth that money. If you, Aaron, were not worth the effort, the energy, and everything else that you, for what you bring to this podcast, you would have been gone a long time ago.
I'm glad you used this as an example.
So, every time you think that,
get rid of it.
ask yourself the one question, why am I still there? If I am such a failure, why do these people keep me around? Are they failures as well? Or do they see something in me potentially that I am not seeing in myself or am not allowing myself to see?
Dang.
Dang it, Aaron. There is nothing wrong with what you're doing. And I know it's not a simple, okay, you hear this and you're, okay, I'm off to good.
Well, now I'm perfectly fine.
No, it's going to take time. I get it. I'm not expecting you to do an instant 180 flip on me and be all like, oh, I'm all good now. I still expect to be all sexy doodles.
Yeah, I probably will be.
Okay. See, exactly. But again, it's not the immediate change. It's the trip to that destination of that change.
Right.
As long as you're making progress forward, that is a great thing. Because I'll be honest here, Mr. Johnson, guess who doesn't have enough time in their day to spend with someone who's not pulling their weight? I don't.
You know.
Your job doesn't.
No.
And that same thing applies to your friends and the various aspects of things that you do. People are busy. We talked about this before. We only have 16% of our lives as free time. We don't have time to be around people who are not worthy of spending our time with and on. That's a reality, unfortunately. Sometimes it comes down to a simple business transaction.
Huh.
So if you ever go, am I worthy? Stop there. Look at the facts objectively. Are they spending time with you? Yeah. Okay. Are they continuing to engage with you? Okay. If it's a job, are they paying you? Okay. Then yes, you are worthy of whatever it is that you're doing. Yes, you are worthy of those compliments, of those praises, of those adulations, of those good works. And yes, you are worthy for you to say thank you for acknowledging my work that I did without feeling guilt, without feeling shame, without feeling like you're a failure, without feeling like you're a fraud. Because it's not luck. Because you could attribute luck to one time. Like, hey, I got through this project one time. It was luck. If you're on your 50th project and you're still good in compliments, it's not luck. I'm sorry. It can no longer be luck.
You just know what you're doing at this point.
It's called skill. Yeah. It's called experience. It's called you have mastered a trade. It happens. Like I said, I'm just as guilty as this as you. So this isn't a me like berating Aaron thing. This is Aaron, listen, man. Yeah. And I've seen this for a while with you, where you don't take a compliment the best.
No, I don't. No.
So I'm going to say this right now.
No. Yeah.
Mr. Aaron Johnson.
Yeah.
You do a heck of a good job on the show, even though you don't realize it at times. And half the time, you provide a lot of good interaction because it would be pretty dry with me just talking solo here. So thank you, and you do a great job.
Thank you. So quiet, but thank you. Gosh. Sorry, God.
Did that get a little too personal there?
No, no. No.